racing action with these Lotus 980s on Monza. We're going around the circuit one last time for at least the quarterfinals for the time being, for these last 8 drivers to find their way potentially into the semi-finals. Remember, they need to finish in the top 50% of this grid in order to be able to participate in the semi-finals due to take place next week. So on that note, for our newer viewers, let me give you a quick introduction to what Revit is. Revit is a virtual racing challenge by Formula Bharat in collaboration with IR Esports. This event does have racing, but it's also fundamentally a test of your engineering knowledge in setting up race cars. A typical recreation of the FS dynamic event set of the dynamic event procedure, more or less. But there is one major difference, and that's that these cars will be racing with each other. There is wheel to wheel racing. It's one of those few luxuries, one of those comforts that you get from being able to drive from the safety and comfort of your own little gaming chairs at home. And that's what these drivers will be wanting to do. They'll be wanting to focus in the next 20 minutes of racing in order to get up there in the top four. Formula Bharat is an Indian Formula student style engineering design competition in which students from colleges and universities all over the country compete with a life size Formula style vehicle in areas of engineering design, overall cost, marketability, and dynamic performance. The series replicates the global Formula Student Series hosted in around 11 countries per year. Launched in 2017, each year the Formula Bharat competition hosts both combustion and electric vehicle categories. With a student community base of over 8,000 engineering students, the platform hopes to promote practical, hands on engineering experiences. Now, IR Esports are India's largest e racing organizers. IR Esports has created iconic properties in the racing esports space, such as the Indian e-racing championships, the Volkswagen Virtual Racing Championship, Mumbai's fastest gamer, India's fastest gamer, the Indian Sim Racing League, and many more. IR Esports curates, plans, and executes custom motorsport-based campaigns via esports across various mediums. So, on that note, let's jump straight into the action that you see on screen. Already a few drivers over there starting to get a little feisty. It's only qualifying, but everyone's going to try to get their fastest lap on board to get the best race start. All these brilliant camera angles that you see, all of that action that you're seeing on screen, along with all of that information, is being brought to you by our race directors today. Those are so Firoz and Gaurav are our race directors today, taking care of all these broadcasting gimmicks and all of these little technical features that you're seeing on screen. We also have race stewards for this race. We have very experienced professional racing drivers being race stewards. Our first race steward for the day is Aditya Pawar. He's got multiple podiums in the Volkswagen Polo Championship. He's the winner of multiple four-stroke karting tournaments and is also a former test driver and stunt driver for Volkswagen Motorsport, and also an official instructor at Jaguar. Our second steward for the day is Abha Mankar. She's been part of the Course India 1 Million Hunt, being part of the top 10 on that grid. Very, very experienced in karting, has multiple podiums in two-stroke and four-stroke karting, and also has been part of Jaguar as an instructor. Very, very experienced hands on board to make sure that these drivers do what they should be doing and not be running off the road like that. That's surely a net code error there. But yeah, they're going to make sure that all these drivers stick to their racing principles and no one takes each other out. My name is Sajid. I'd like to invite you to join us for one last round in the quarterfinal series. We've got just about 10 minutes left in qualifying. And on that note, let's have a quick introduction, as usual, to and just bring you all the information of the drivers who are taking part in today's race. The first driver we have on grid is Aman from Formula Manipal. He's running the number 201 on his car. Here we go. We're riding on board with Aman. That I believe is a red livery. I'm not quite sure if that is the livery I remember from Formula Manipal. I remember they did have a blue and white livery, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong over there, but this is Aman who you have on, who we're riding on board right now. Remember, Formula Manipal did have their first driver Arya finishing P4 in the second grid, and that has granted, at least as per that result, that has granted Formula Manipal one spot in the semi-finals. Aman is going to try to get the second car into the semi-finals by the end of today. So this is the first driver on grid, Aman from Formula Manipal. Our second driver is will be Sam Sherin-Raj, who is running the number 113 numerical on his car. He's from Team Precicio Racing. That's PREC. If you can have a look at the leaderboard, we'll know where exactly Sam is placed on the leaderboard right now in qualifying. So it looks like Sam is not yet on the leaderboard. I don't think he's put out a lap yet. We're going to have to get back to Team Precision. Our next driver on the grid is Aditya, the number 103 car from Force Ikshwaku Racing. My apologies. Force Ikshwaku Racing FIR. There we go. We're riding on board with Aditya right now. Brilliant livery. We did not get to see this livery. I think in grid 3, his teammate Arjun Somanna did not start that race, so we didn't have a chance to see this livery on the track. This time around on our final grid, we do have that opportunity as they sport a rocking, well, really nice. I would assume a tiger-inspired livery with the number of stripes. You've got black, yellow, and white, almost looking like flames spitting out from the sides of those side pods. And of course, they do have their logo on the engine cover. So this is our next car on track. This is Force Ikshwaku Racing, driven by Aditya. They're gonna. This is their second and only and their last chance to get into the semi-finals. Let's see what Aditya can do. If he can just keep it clean on track and not spin like that into turn one, he will have a good chance when the race starts. Our next car on track is Anurag from Team United Racing. That's TUR. Anurag running the number 215 on his car. There we go. That's Anurag in his red and white Team United Racing car. We saw his teammate Animesh take part yesterday in grid number 7. He finished P7. So not the fastest, not the result which TUR would have been hoping for. Let's hope they've got their formula right today and that Anurag can get that car into the top 4 positions. The next team on the grid is Citizens Racing. That's CR. The driver being Ashwin, running the number 110 on his car. There we go. We've got Ashwin. He's got a black, white, and a red livery, which I assume is inspired from their team, looking at the team logo as well on cars. So I would assume that is the livery design which they run for their actual Formula Student car as well. So Citizens Racing has been a part of Formula Student for quite a while. They've got second place in cost presentation at FFS and Kari Motor Speedway. They've also been involved in multiple other events in the Formula Student domain. Also finished 67th in the, I believe, maybe one of the earlier competitions back in 2019 in Formula Bharat as well at the Kari Motor Speedway. So they've got a few years in the Thunderdome of Formula Student. So let's see what they can do on track virtually today. The Citizens Racing, driven by Ashwin. The next car we've got on track is SRC, that's Shwetashwar Racing, being driven by Surya, running the number 223 on his car. We saw this liveried, this special graffitied car yesterday, being driven by Surya's teammate Yashwant in grid 7. He managed to finish P4 on that result, getting him into the semi-finals as of that standing, at least at the end of that race. So let's see what Surya can do, whether Surya can also get that car up there into the top 4. That could potentially then be a double semi-final start for Shwetashwar Racing for SRC. The next team on track is Triumphant Racers TR. That car is being driven by Prathamesh in the number 129. Well, he's opted to go for number 129. His teammate Saif drove in grid 7 as well yesterday, finishing P6. So this is again the last chance that Triumphant Racers have to get into the semi-finals. So let's see if Prathamesh can change their luck around a little bit, stay out of trouble during the race, and get his car up there in the top 4. We also have Irish Formula Student Electric that should have been on the grid. Unfortunately, they have not managed to get on the grid either. We've still got about 5 minutes left in qualifying. Hopefully, they can get into the grid before that race starts. We've got just under 5 minutes, and everybody seems to have put a decent lap on board till now. The pole position right now, pole sitter is Aman way out in front. His best lap being 1 minute 37.4. The rest of the track, the rest of the drivers are a good at least 5 seconds behind. You see second place driver TUR Anurag almost 5 seconds behind, 5.4 seconds behind the leader of the race right now, at least the leader of qualifying. And then you've got smaller gaps as we go further down the field. P3 and P4 have exactly the same lap time up to the 10th. So they, at least from this, we can see that both of them are equally spaced in their competency on track with their setups. It's going to be more. It's going to be a really nail-biting finish if this is the sort of pace we'll be seeing for the race between P3 and P4. A good 0.9, well, just under a second of a gap between P4 and P5. So I think maybe P3 through 5 will be having quite a tight race if they can manage to keep it clean throughout the race. Then, of course, we've got slightly bigger gaps back to P6 and P7 for Prathamesh and Ashwin. Surely they're going to want to get back out there and get their tires up to temperature so that they can put the last couple of laps which they can squeeze into the next 3.5 minutes. Prathamesh going all over the place through the exit of Lesmo to it's a very interesting to see many drivers going getting their cars wrong, just getting the moment of the car wrong through the exit of Lesmo too. It looks like everybody's just trying to attack that curb a bit too much, getting a bit too greedy on the throttle as you get out of that corner. Remember, these cars do have turbos. You just really need to balance that car. It's just a pendulum basically at that point. You just got to swing it around and then hold that and just balance out the moment by counter steering. These cars will inevitably oversteer on the slower speed corners. So it's about how these cars have actually been set up, at least mechanically, for the slow speed corners. And Surya gets it all wrong mechanically, at least longitudinally speaking, not braking anywhere near the right point, almost taking out one of the other red cars on track. I think that car is currently in P5. Yes, so that is. That is the Formula Manipal car, Aman, who is in P1, but it showed P5 on track. It's probably just based on relative position. As you see, FIR Aditya, the actual P5 holder in the standings right now on qualifying, not able to improve his time. I think with just about 2 minutes left, this is probably what maybe the last of two laps that Aditya can squeeze out in the time that remains. That long run down into Ascari has spat out quite a few unfortunate events over the past few days, with different drivers misjudging their braking zone, some drivers completely missing their braking zones, others braking too early, all sorts of chaos happening at that corner. So, we're going to have to watch out and see if anything happens in Ascari. I hope this race is a lot cleaner than what we had yesterday. I think yesterday made up for some of the more lackluster races perhaps before that, where not too much action was there. This time, however, let's hope that the action you see on track is a lot of clean racing as opposed to all the collisions that we've had up till now at Monza. This is the final grade. The drivers do know that this is the final chance that everybody has to get into the semi-finals. No doubt they will be pushing it to the limits, but they have a lot as well to keep in mind when it comes to wheel-to-wheel racing, especially with powerful cars like this. And there is already collision. Just as I said, we were hoping for clean racing. There's already been another collision in qualifying at the end. Surya and another red car in front of him being involved in that collision. It doesn't look like Surya is going to even improve his lap time. Anyways, that looks more like an out lap at that point. So it looks like that's qualifying over for Surya. He might be holding on to P4 as of now, and the rest of the cars just lined up in the grid, in their pit boxes. I think everyone's just kind of getting off track really quickly. Everyone's just looking forward to starting the race at this point. I think it's been quite a quiet qualifying up till now. Everyone just putting out their laps as Aman also crosses the line. And apologies for that little confusion in the beginning. So Formula Manipal Electric's car is blue. Formula Manipal's car is red. So this is a Formula Manipal driver, Aman. So yes, that livery is correct. In fact, they are running this livery. I remember they did run their car in the earlier grids, and this was a little bit of a confusion back then as well. Manipal having two cars, one for the electric and one for the combustion team, both running quite polar opposite liveries of red and blue at this point. Um, Aman, of course, having gotten pole position by almost 5.5 seconds now, is just enjoying his time on track. In the end of qualifying, we're well into overtime, just waiting for the server to time itself out when it reaches the limit of overtime, so that we can get onto the start sequence. There you have it. That's the qualifying result. You've got 5 seconds between P1 and P2, about 2 seconds, no, about 1 second between P2 and P3, just about 2.5 seconds after that. And then the gaps are slightly or more or less the same, about 2 to 3 seconds of a gap between the subsequent cars. We've got 7 cars on grid today. Let's hope that these 7 cars battle it out very cleanly. And let's hope that we get all the entertainment we could hope for the final race of the quarterfinal series. Meanwhile, we've got a lot of support going on right now in the chat. We've got SRC team, the team SRC in the chat. We've also got a lot of support for Surya from them. And we also got support for Ashwin and Sam. Where are the rest of you? Where are the rest of the team members? Let's give a lot of support. This is the final chance that these drivers have to get into the semi-finals as we just line up, wait for that countdown timer to hit around 10 seconds. 10 seconds past 20 minutes at this point on the clock. Yeah, we just got to wait for that to reach 10 seconds so that the starting sequence begins for the lights. Meanwhile, let's just have one final look at these cars before they start moving at much higher speeds than what they are at right now. There we go. We've got the lights all set to start. All the lights are going off right now, waiting for those 6 red lights. Couple of seconds left for green. We are under green flag conditions right now. Everyone getting a reasonable start right now. Nothing too fancy, but everyone getting off reasonably clean. No wheel spin this time around as the 7 cars have already been spaced out a bit, and then there's already collision between P1 and P2. The red and white and another red car, and then that car coming back on track, sliding in. I don't think there's any more collision from that unless he gets it all wrong. I'm not quite sure which car that is. I have to double check. If you could just have a look at that leaderboard, it'll be a good indication of which car that is. I think that is the Formula Manipal car, if I'm not mistaken, that went, that it was stuck there in the second chicane. Yep, there's a Formula Manipal car. That was your pole sitter that was involved in that collision with another red car, which I believe is leading right now. Whose car is that? If you can just have a look. Yes, that's Prathamesh from TR. That's Triumphant Racers having a decent start right now, getting up into the front, but he's got company right behind him. That is the first Ikshvaku car of Aditya that's coming up right behind him. Of course, FI are not showing up in one of the earlier grids this time around. However, they are up to P2 and well on their way to snatch that semi-final spot if they can hold the current pace, if they can hold their current positions. I don't think Aditya is going to be waiting for that. He wants to take P1, which you can see right in front of him. Anurag there back in P4 going through one of the Lesmo corners. And then this battle up front, Aditya versus the current leader, is going to end quite quickly as Aditya sends it into the wall at the entry to Askari. So he's back in the pits as well. Car completely totaled. We've got one of the other cars coming out. I believe that is Sam's car from Team Precision, also getting out of the pits right now. The blue and green stock livery over there as he makes his way out. So Sam, of course, we didn't have a look at him during qualifying. I don't think he was there on the grid at the time, but that is the Team Precisio car. His teammate having finished P4 on grid number 6. Team Precisio will be wanting to get their second car as well up there into semi-final spots, but he's got a lot of work to do to climb up from P5, or it was at P5. He's already back in P4 right now. So P4 through 7 have already had a visit to the pits. Looks like only the top 3 drivers, the current podium holders, were the ones that stayed out of trouble, more or less. Nope, once again, just waiting for the leaderboard to update. So it's the top 4 who have stayed out of trouble, the top 4 who will potentially get into the semi-finals, currently holding top 4 positions. Sam, a good way down the field. He is at least about 70 seconds behind P4. He's got more than half a lap worth of track to cover before catching up with Surya in the SRC car. Anurag making his way up to P3 in all of this and holding it quite strong right now. He is maintaining that gap. He is holding on to the leading pack. Prathamesh, of course, not having any pressure anymore after the FIR car crashed at Askari. He's still running away, but only by a small margin. The CR car of Ashwin, who is that? That is the Citizens Racing car of Ashwin, also holding a strong second place right now. But he is going to be battling it out with Anurag very soon. Anurag getting a very, very massive exit at Lesmo. I'd be surprised if he has not gotten a slowdown penalty for that. It seems like he has gone off track only by a small margin, but still holding just two wheels on the AstroTurf. He makes a move on the inside, albeit with a broken car, and hopefully, does he manage to hold it, make it stick? Yes, he does. He holds on to the position, getting a very clean exit out of Askari. So that's Anurag up to P2, having started slightly lower down the order. We saw him in P4 at one point at the start of the race, now holding P2 and quite comfortably so. Sam, of course, in P5 having quite a lonely race, but you see that gap to Surya is already starting to go down. It was about 90 seconds before when at the beginning of the previous lap. I think it's going to be going back to 90 seconds after Sam decided to have a nice little trip to the beach at Lesmo 1. He's got to get back on track and rub that gravel off of his tires, get the grip back up before he can start pushing once again. The driver he is chasing down, of course, Surya from SRC, comfortably in P4. He's got a bit more breathing space right now as he charges on, trying to catch up with those podium runners, all of whom have been maintaining more or less the same gap for the past couple of laps. So it's good to see the top three drivers having almost equal pace at this point in the competition. This is what you want to see with the last race of quarterfinals with grid 8. You do want to see as many battles as you can. It doesn't get more exciting than this. The stakes are high. The drivers have one last shot at getting into that coveted semi-final spot. Remember, 32 drivers will be in the semi-finals, split across a few races. We'll be going over those details slightly later on. But as the order stands, Prathamesh has a massive lead, or had a massive lead. Now only 2 seconds. Who is that? Someone goes clean into the wall, smashing it into Askari. That is TUR Anurag, who had a clean race up till now. He just has binned it into the wall at the exit of Askari. That car is all over the place. He's barely managing to hold it. He will have to pit and get that car fixed. If he takes out any driver with a damaged car, remember the penalties will be severe. Let's see what Anurag does. He will be pitting. Ashwin, of course, making his way through a parabolica, and I think there was some sort of a battle going on between Anurag and Ashwin. Anurag almost smashing it into the pit wall, but somehow managing to make it stick into the pit entry as Ashwin takes P2 in this race, and he is gonna want to start hunting down. Oh, so he's not taking P2, he's taken P1. So I think Prathamesh is also pitted in all of this. I don't know what happened to Prathamesh in all this chaos, but he's also got damage and he's found himself back in the pits. And now Ashwin is leading the race. Citizens Racing is leading the race with Surya right behind him. Let's ride on board with Surya and see how far back he actually is on track. Let's see if that gap reduces by the end of this lap. Surya, having started P4, has leapfrogged one driver and made his way, will leapfrog a couple of drivers, making his way into P2 right now. And you can see he can sense P1 right in front of him. He has that race victory on his sights. He is right up. You can see Ashwin right up in front in his view. This battle will hopefully become feisty. It does not, as you see, Anurag clean into the wall. Who was that? That was Ashwin, sorry, clean into the wall at the exit of Lesmo 1. Perhaps just getting a bit too much throttle in his rear tires as he gets on the exit. He got onto the exit a bit too early, a bit too greedy at Lesmo 1, ending up in the barriers. So that is Ashwin also back in the pits. And then, of course, because of that, all the other drivers have gained another spot. We're going to have to wait and see how long it takes for Ashwin to get back on track. Surya is not going to be worrying about any of that because he is in the lead. And by more than half a minute, it's about 40 seconds at the time being, he holds on to the race lead for the time being. couple of drivers still in the pits. One driver making their way out. That is Ashwin, who was the race leader at one point about a lap ago. Now surely wanting to hunt down P4, who's a long way up the field, about 50, going to be potentially 60 seconds by the end of this lap, as Ashwin has to slowly bring that car up to grip, slowly get those tires up to temperature, very gingerly taking it through those chicanes. He's going to want to get up to speed as quick as possible and hunt down P4. We saw he did have a decent amount of race pace. No, not P4, that's P5. I think this timing screen's been giving me some trouble all race long. I think for a while I'm not going to be looking at those relatives, and instead let's try to focus on one of these drivers as they go around Monza. We haven't had an onboard view of a hot lap till now, so let's see if we can ride on board with the race leader. He surely has clean track in front of him. Let's see how Surya takes these corners and whether he is even improving his lap time. He has no reference in front of him, but at the same time he has clean track ahead, so I think he will be starting to get back to his textbook and just attacking each corner, gaining time wherever he can, of course within the limits of the track. Going into Parabolica, giving multiple inputs once again. He could potentially be, he's probably on keyboard if not controller. I highly doubt he's using the mouse with the inputs you're seeing, but it is doing the trick, whatever suits you best. Surya is powering down the main straight once again. We've got just over 10 minutes left, just over halfway of the race left for him to complete before he can finally relax, having taken P1. He's still got a long way to go as he goes through the first chicane one more time, managing to make it stick. Yes, it looked like he's almost going to go into the gravity trap, but somehow manages to make it stick as he flies down the next corner. This is Curva Grande. You want to be as smooth as you can on the input so that he can get a brilliant run out of the corner as he makes his way down into the next chicane. This is Della Rocha breaking into this corner, being very careful on these sausage curves, not attacking them, but just managing to clip the main curves as he gets out brilliantly once again. Not a snag of wheel spin anywhere to be seen, no oversteer to be seen, but he surely is. He is understeering into Lesmo 1, and that sends him wide into the gravel trap. He's got to get back on power as that gap to P1. Remember, P1 driver Aman, he was P1 at one point, is already hunting him down. That gap is reducing to about 20 seconds. I can see a lot of support for SRC in the chat. You all will surely be wanting a victory. Let's see what Surya can do. Meanwhile, Formula Manipur Electric is not giving them any rest. They're trying to hunt them down with just about 9 minutes of the race left. Aman has got traffic up front right now. The traffic is looking very, very unpredictable at the time. The traffic, of course, getting out of the way. That is the CR Citizens Racing car of Ashwin getting out of the way just before Lesmo 2 as Aman starts making his way up to P1. Remember, looking at that qualifying pace, Aman put a 1 minute 34.3, Surya put a 1 minute 43.6, so that's about 10 seconds worth of lap time. At least that was the difference in qualifying. So both these drivers continue their qualifying pace. Aman is going to catch up with Surya in about 2 laps time, giving him about 6 minutes worth of race time to be out in front unless he makes any mistakes. If Surya can pick up his pace, he will be able to retain P1. I believe Surya stayed out of most incidents up till now in this race, albeit slight understeer into Lesmo 1, at least as far as I've seen, as far as we've seen on screen. Let's hope for his sake he was not involved in any other collisions, as Aman is closing that gap by another 5 seconds. It's reduced by 5 seconds already in the span of just half a lap. The PREC Prestigio racing car of Sam has also made his way up into P3. A good long way off pace from the Formula Manipal electric car right now. Formula Manipal car right now. He's about 20 seconds behind Formula Manipal, but he has about half a minute worth of race time between himself and the P4 driver of Anurag, who again has about 40 seconds to P5 and then another 15 seconds down to P6. The P7 driver Prathamesh is miles behind the competition right now. He's 170 seconds behind the race leader. That's almost about 2 laps behind the race leader right now. TR Prathamesh, of course, having not put a lap time on board for qualifying, I believe, did start on the tail end of the field. It's still currently stuck at the tail end of the field. He might have had some collisions during the race, but he's going to want to start hunting down some of those drivers. He only has 7 minutes left. Triumphant racers only have 7 minutes left to flip their luck around and get at least one of the cars into the semi-finals. Remember, Saif was not able to do it yesterday. Prathamesh has got all that pressure on his shoulders. He's going to want to get a move on very, very quickly. See that gap once again almost going to be reduced to 10 seconds by the time Aman reaches the first chicane. I think this is about the time when we should start riding on board with Aman. He can already see one car up front. Is that the SRC car? I'm pretty sure that is either the SRC car or the FIR car, looking at the graffiti at the rear end of the car. Let's ride on board with Aman and see how he hunts down Surya, given his pace has been quite splendid up till now in the race. No doubt that car up ahead, which you can see a tiny little speck in the distance, is for sure, that is Surya in SRC. This is going to be a very interesting battle, of course. Surya holding on to P1 for the past about 5 to 10 minutes of the race. Aman, having started at the front end of the grid, lost out big time after collision at the beginning of the race. He has had to climb up from P7, but he's right now on P2, and that gap has been closing continuously as the laps have been going down. We've got just about 5.5 minutes of the race left. I think it's going to be 3 laps worth of racing this time around when we cross the start-finish line. And there is a car parked right on Ascari. Is that Surya? Was that Surya? I doubt it. Can't see anything changing on the timing screen. No, it's not. So Surya did not win it at Ascari. There was another car, I believe, that might have been FIR planted on the curb. Aman, all this while, has chopped that gap down by another 4 to 5 seconds, and I think this is where he's going to gain a lot of time. So potentially Formula Manipal is running quite a low wing. I would say they're potentially running a low wing, looking at how much time they're gaining on the straights, and then they're obviously getting a lot more time on the corner exits as well. They probably have a really good mechanically stable car, at least for the rear end. Let's see what he can do. Let's see how he takes this corner. Takes it very tight. You can see very good response from that car, extremely responsive. I would say they are running a very stiff setup right now, but still managing to keep at least the rear end quite soft. It is a balance between the sort of spring settings they've chosen, the anti-roll bar settings they've chosen. Even the toe values matter a lot, especially when it comes to turn into corners, and also the straight line speed, which it doesn't look like Surya's got out of that chicane. He got a little wobbly. Aman getting a good run out of that chicane. He's starting to close him down. This might be an overtaking move. Yes, it is. Surya sends it into the wall once again. We saw him have an understeer moment at Lesmo 1 few laps back. This time he oversteers into the wall, getting on power a bit too fast as the rear end just gets the grip it needs, but at the wrong angle for the car as he gets out of Lesmo 2 right now. Hopefully he doesn't have any damage, because if he does, and if he pits right now, he will have to chop down a lot of time. Remember, Anurag is only 55 seconds behind the race leader. That's only about 35 seconds right now to the yeah, there we go. He's already overtaken Surya. So Surya is teleported back into the pits, and you can see that lap time. You can see the time already dropping. So he's 85 seconds away from the race leader already. Surely going to be lapped right now. Very, very unfortunate for SRC. They had a really good run up till now, holding on to P1, but they've found themselves back into P4. They still do have a chance to qualify, but they would definitely want to have won this race. If Aman can keep it clean for the last 3 minutes of the race, he will surely run away with the race victory. But anything can happen with just 3 minutes left in the race. Anurag, of course, having started P3, has found himself back in P3, making his way through Ascari. Surya is still in the pits, so now he's going to have to keep an eye out for Ashwin, who, by the way, was also leading the race at some point. So Ashwin also crashed out at some point in the race and is now starting to hunt down P4. This is going to be a battle for who can get into the semi-finals, and as I say all of that, Ashwin has also found himself into the barriers at the Della Roja chicane. Uh, Yeah, so he's also crashed out over there, and he's gonna have to start hunting down Surya once again. He did have an advantage, but he bent it into that barrier, and he's gonna have to start chopping that down once again. Surya back on track, surely focusing on getting those tires up to temperature. I don't think Surya is gonna be anymore gonna be adventurous anymore into Lesmo one. He knows what's at stake. He just has to hold on to this position to take another spot in the semifinals for SRC. SRC, of course, getting a P4 finish in grid 7 yesterday. Yashwant bringing that car across the line. Is this going to be another P4 finish for SRC? Are they going to manage to get both their cars into the semifinals? Remember, we've got a few cars, a few teams out there that have managed to get both cars into the semifinals. Obviously, we can't reveal any of the official results just yet. The penalties, the post-race investigations are yet to be done. The penalties have not yet been applied. They will be put out very soon, but at least from the standings, SRC grabbed P4 yesterday, and SRC is firmly holding on to P4 currently as well in today's race. 1 minute left in the race. Let's ride on board with Aman as he rounds off the final lap of the race potentially. I don't think there are going to be any more battles looking at the sort of spaces we see on grid. So let's just ride on board with Aman as he makes his way to victory lane this time around when he crosses the line, taking a very smooth exit out of Lesmo 1 and surely doing the same for Lesmo 2. 45 seconds on the clock. I'm not quite sure. This is going to be very close. Will he manage to get across the line with one more lap to spare? It's going to be awfully tight, I believe. He's making his way through Ascari right now. Half a minute to finish. One straight, a long corner, and one more half straight. Anything can happen. Let's see. He's taking these corners very well. He's staying off the curb. So this has been the strategy that Manipal has opted for, going for quite a stiff car, I would presume, getting that response through all these corners, and then safely staying off the curbs, preventing themselves from pinning it or losing out on any of the advantage. 8 seconds left on the clock. I don't think he's going to make it across the line to start one more lap. So he gets down onto the main straight. The timing, yes, the time has gone into overtime. So Aman crosses the line, having started P1 and having had a massive collision into the first corner. Aman crosses the line to take away victory here in this race. I'm quite sure he crossed the line before that timing screen, or I crossed the line after the timing screen went into overtime. We're just gonna have to wait and see if that is the case. Quite sure that is the case. Sam also having had a decent race. He did have some issues with qualifying, but he has managed to get his way up there into P2 as well. So there's a P2 finish for PREC. They had a P4 finish in grid 6 a couple of days ago, with Pranav Ram taking that position. Sam this time around has got two more positions in the bag for PREC, bringing his car across the line to take another spot in the semi-finals. A lot of jam-packed racing action for sure. But I think the driver I'd really want to talk to is Aman, having had to climb his way up from P7, having started on pole position and getting wrecked in the first corner. That's definitely going to be a very interesting interview indeed. Anurag, having had a clean race for a majority of it, pinned himself in the wall as well at one point. I believe somewhere around either Lesmo or Ascari. He's found himself in P3 and he'll be taking the final podium spot for this race. SRC Surya looks like about with 162 seconds. Obviously, that's about 1.5 laps worth of time. Absolute heartbreak for SRC, having led the race for a majority of this race, keeping it clean in front. Surya spun at Lesmo, I believe, maybe from the pressure of having Formula Manipal right behind them. Either way, SRC spun into the wall and crashed, wrecked their car, and had to pit and found themselves back in P4. Surely they'll be happy getting into the semifinals, but that victory was in the bag. Surely it would have been in the bag if Surya had kept it clean. It'll be interesting to have a chat with all these drivers. We're just waiting for the race to time out. Remember, the if drivers don't finish their race before 2.5 minutes, they will be glitched out of the server. Right now, it's at 2 minutes itself, so it looks like everybody has crossed the line quite comfortably. It'll be interesting to have a look at the results once the final results, at least as the order stands, pops up on screen. We will be talking with having a word with the drivers, just waiting for them to make their way into the interview room. Okay, so we've got our first driver in the interview room. Let's have a word with Surya. Surya's already jumped into the interview room. He wants to get straight into the discussion. We'll just wait for him to do his mic check and jump into the commentary booth. Welcome, Surya. You had such a good race start. You started P4, found your way up into P1. You held that lead for a while, but then spun at Lesmo 2. Was this a potential race victory that you had in the bag?
Uh, yeah, I think, bro. I had it. I actually exited some. I somehow it exited in the starting only. I started from the pit, but still I had it. I missed it.
Oh wow! So that it might have been because the grid started up and you might have not jumped in the car by then. But yeah, so when that happens, the game sometimes glitches you into the pits. But still, an impressive run up there. It was really good to see you suddenly up there after all those drivers up in front ran into trouble. So what exactly happened at Lesmo 2, Lesmo 1, I believe, when I think that was around the time when Aman started catching up with you.
Like I saw the mirror and got distracted. I think. Like
Uh,
it was
unfortunate.
catching
I
up on me,
suspected that.
so something happened there.
Yeah, yeah. And then how long did it take for you to fix the car after that? We saw you immediately
Like
teleported, right?
65 seconds.
65 seconds. Okay, okay. It's really unfortunate, Surya, but still, you got at least a P4 finish. At least as per yesterday's standing as well. Both cars are into P4 right now, into the semifinals. So yeah, yeah. Good luck for the semifinals, and
Okay,
congratulations to
thank
you
you,
and your
bro.
team.
Thank you.
Yeah. So next driver we have lined up for the interview. Let's have a chat with TUR Anurag. We saw his race go from bad to worse to bad to again worse. So it'll be good to have a word with him and see what happened over there. Welcome, Anurag. Congratulations on P3. We saw you have a very, very clean race in the beginning, but then you ran into some trouble, I believe, at one of the chicanes, if I'm not mistaken. Did you have any
Yes.
incidents which we weren't able to catch?
Uh, Actually, got into a mini accident, kind of mini accident with somebody. Then my wing was really broken. It was all, my alignment also went off. So I had to pit. So by when I pitted, I saw that my position went down to P4. Then I was getting pressurized, like I might lose this. So I became too eager to get back to P3 or some like hold on to P4 only. Then under pressure, I kept that misjudging the entry for the chicanes and all the exits. Yeah, so actually the mid laps were very worse. My worst, uh, you know, I was not in my flow in the mid
Yeah.
laps.
But
Yeah.
at least you were able to keep the rest of that race consistent because you found your way up to the podium after that. Brilliant result. I believe you didn't have much luck with the team yesterday with just a
Uh,
P7 finish, so this is a massive improvement for sure.
I actually want to, apologize to the guy, Aman. I think he started with P1. I went in onto his side on the first second only on the first lap. I wanted to get away from the pack early as possible, but I had a little rubbing, and I think I crashed into him.
Oh, yes, that's right. I believe, yeah, I remember two red cars having collision in the beginning. So I was Formula Manipal and your car. Okay, interesting to see that. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to hear that you gave your side of the story and you apologize at least from your end. So it's good to see that a lot of sportsmanship involved. But nonetheless, right now you're holding P3 in this race. So congratulations on your podium. Anyone you'd like to thank? We saw your support in the comments as well.
Uh, I like to thank all the other participants also. All the other races, they were very it was a clean race. They were doing a good race. Unlike yesterday, like my the driver one of our team, he actually guided me a lot. He helped me, and I like to give a shout out to the team. They helped me a lot. Yeah, that's it.
Good job. Yep. Congratulations. Congratulations on at least holding semi-final spot till now. We got to see all the incidents, of course, but for now you have P3. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you.
So let's get the next driver on grid. We've got second place driver Sam Sharon. I believe Sam is he in the interview room. Yes, he is. So let him just do his mic check and he'll join us shortly. Welcome, Sam. Started P2, finished P2. Before we get into the specifics of that, we saw you in the pits at one point. Can you run us through maybe what happened there?
Yeah, someone went into me in the first lap, like after the second turn. Um, I had to do the pits, and yeah, I did a recovery drive, I guess.
I understand. So was that the only visit you had to the pits?
Yeah, after the first lap incident.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So it means that you were consistent after that. We always say consistency gets you those podiums. Congratulations on that P2. So was it a lonely drive apart from that? Did you have any other battles which we might have missed on screen?
No, yeah, it was kind of lonely drive. Like I don't know how did I come from P6 to P2. I guess so other drivers got crashed or something. But yeah, I did my laps in. I did a pretty good laps. I was consistent. Like as I did all below 143. So yeah, great drive there.
Yep. Great job indeed. We saw a lot of support from your team as well in the comments. Anyone you want to give a shout out for?
Yeah, sure. Thanks to my team members, all my team members, and I want to thank personally my co-driver Pranav. And he was the one who was pushing my limits. So yeah.
Yep. Congratulations, man. You got P4 in your first attempt for your team. As of that result, you got P2 today. So once the penalties are all applied, if you're lucky, if you've stayed out of all trouble, you will hold this position. Either way, for now, you have P2 for today's race.
Mhm.
Congratulations. Congratulations. Go
Yeah,
ahead and celebrate with your team.
yeah. Thank you. Thanks for that.
All right. The next driver, let's get our race winner on board. I believe the race winners are last of our drivers ready to give an interview today. Just waiting for Aman to finish his mic check. Welcome, Aman. You started on P1 by a mile, 5.5 seconds. Had an unfortunate incident in the first corner, and now you are back in P1. Firstly, congratulations on the victory. Can you first run us through what happened in the first lap?
Thank you, first of all. I don't know. I think I had a good start, but I think from the back they caught up. But I don't know. I don't know whose fault it was. I just went back to pits as soon as I could and got it fixed. And I kind of zoned out for a bit. I didn't know who I was overtaking. But yeah, thank you.
Yep. So you're basically just a man on the mission just to get your way back up to the spot which you started at. Great job. I think we had a chat with, I believe, Anurag. He had said that it might have been some contact between both of you. Anyways, we will be looking at all the incidents also to our viewers, and we'll be looking at all these incidents. These are not the final results. All the results you've been seeing on screen at the end of the race are just the on-track results without the penalties or anything applied. But either way, I mean, congratulations. You did you have any other battles, Aman, as you fought your way up back into P1?
I don't think so. I think there were some back markers, but I don't know for sure. I didn't even know the final standings. I think my teammates told me. That's when I realized.
Yeah, yeah. So you're just zoned out, like you said. You just switched off your heart and everything, right? You were just focused
Yeah,
on the road. Yeah, but you did consistent clean laps. You found your way back into P1. Firstly, congratulations to you. I think your co-driver Arya from Grid 2 also got P4.
yeah,
So as the
yeah.
order stands, you've got two cars into the semi-finals. Congratulations to you and Formula Manipal. Anyone you'd like to thank? We saw a lot of support from your team as well over the past few days.
I'd like to thank my teammates for the opportunity, and thank you guys for having the competition.
It's been an absolute pleasure till now. Remember, the competition's not yet over. For our
Yeah,
viewers as well, we've got a lot more racing left. We've got the semi-finals.
yeah.
32 drivers are all going to be going down to just the final set of drivers for the finals. Either way, as the order stands, you have a position in that semi-final shootout, Aman. Let's hope it stays that way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, on that note, our viewers, we are at the end of this long 8 race run. I can't believe we've had 8 races of quarterfinals over the past 1 week and 1 day. It's been an absolute pleasure up till now. I think the excitement's only going to build up. Remember, these were all the quarterfinal races, the qualifying potential, basically qualifying races for the semi-finals. Semi-finals are yet to run, by the way. They will be on the 26th, as you see on screen. So, we will be seeing you all. We'll be catching up on 26th. a lot more stuff planned out for the stream, a few surprises. Let's hope everything goes as planned. The schedule will be out soon, and also those final spots, the results will be out soon. Just having a final look, the race stewards are just having a final look at all the races, making sure the order is as the drivers deserve. And on that note, thank you all so much. Thank you everybody, the participants, for taking part in these quarterfinals till now. We've had every single team having a spot in the quarterfinals to have an opportunity to get in the semifinals. On that note, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having this journey with you all. I will be catching up with everybody on 26th as well when we resume the semifinals. But up till then, my name is Vinsayat Ramesh. I'm signing off on behalf of IR Esports, Formula Bharat, Optimum G, and everyone else involved in making this event a huge success up till now. To our viewers for being a part of it till now. So many more races to come. We'll catch you all on the 26th.